South 71 Music.
Shalom Israel. Let me see them fruits. I need all the 12 tribes to get on the floor right now. Let me see that dance. Emo, Akoti, Elder, Aki. Let's go. Yeah.
Dance if you wanna dance. Dance if you feel land. Screaming out Jerusalem. Dance, 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 dance. Dance if you wanna dance. Dance if you feel land. Screaming out Jerusalem. Dance, 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 dance. Yeah.
12 tribes, do your dance.
Dance.
Turn it up for the fam.
Bam.
Watch me do it with no hands.
No hands.
Dance it back to the land.
The land.
12 tribes, do your dance.
Dance.
Turn it up for the fam.
Bam.
Watch me do it with no hands.
No hands.
Dance it back to the land.
The land.
First off, you gotta lean in. Then you give a little bounce. Then you lean with the other side. Then you move.
All praise to the Most High, y'all. Welcome back. I'm back in the building, y'all. Glad to be back with my fam. Listen, welcome to A Break Faith TV, man. Things are turning for us. I just want to welcome y'all. Welcome to everyone here. Please share this on your timeline. Please share this in all your platforms. Tonight is going to be some real uncomfortable conversation. Listen, I just want to thank y'all for chiming in. Listen, hit that thumbs button when you come on in. Hit that like, leave us a comment. Listen, let's get this thing going tonight. We welcome y'all, man. Listen, I need y'all to share. I'm trying to get to a certain point with this channel because we are bringing the things that the Most High wants people to hear. The Yah wants to bring deliverance. He wants to bring deliverance. He wants to bring clarity. He wants to bring healing. He wants to bring restoration to the children of Yasharel. To the children of Yasharel. Your bread is due to you. Listen, all praises be to the Most High. I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for we almost to 1,500 subscribers. I need y'all to help us out, get us there quickly. We just want to listen, share everywhere, please. Invite your family, invite your friends, because listen, this real talk, these uncomfortable conversations is what's needed in Yasharel. These are the things that's needed. These topics are definitely Ruach driven. We're not sitting here coming off our flesh. We're sitting here praying. We're sitting here planning because we want you to see you healed. All praise to the Most High. Let's bring it in. Shout out to my Moray out there. Love y'all, fam. Let's get this going. Bring my brothers in. My co-host, Ben Yah, my brother Big E. Shalom, my brother.
Shalom.
Shalom. All praise to the Lord. See, they simple. They ready to get into this meat, y'all. We ready to get into this meat, man. I'm telling you, all praises to the Most High. This is going to be some uncomfortable conversations for a lot of people because a lot of people are going to have to look in the mirror and look at themselves. When we talk about this, we're going to have to look in the mirror and look at themselves, and we're going to have to see like, man, that's me. Come on, we're going to turn it over to the hands of our producer to kickstart this. Let's go.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. The marriage bed should be kept in honors. Hebrews 13:4. Some assert that there is an anything goes mentality to intimacy in marriage because the marriage bed is undefiled. However, the Bible prefaces that text by saying that marriage is first honorable. The text also states that fornication and adultery defiles the marriage bed. The word for fornication is the Greek word porneia, which means illicit sexual intercourse. So sex acts that Yahuwah deems as illicit are not acceptable just because it is practiced in the confines of a marriage. It defiles the marriage bed, which should be held in honor. The question then becomes, are acts of sodomy illicit?
Ooh. My brothers.
That's a good question. That's a good question right there.
My brothers, and to the audience, to my fam out there, are acts of Sodom illicit? I put it up first to Ben Yah, my eye.
So I'm just gonna come straight down the middle with it. Once I found out the true definition of sodomy, because at the time when I thought that sodomy was just anal sex, but it only makes sense when you look at it in totality when it's talking about anal and oral sexual intercourse.
Yes, sir.
That is a form of sodomy too. It is a form of sodomy too. Moray already on it. Hey, you on the ground. But so I got to come right down the middle and say for what it is. And I think what has happened is what we did was we took a lot of worldly practices and we brought them into the marriage bed, and we brought that atmosphere, those practices, that attitude, that temperament in the marriage bed. And so what the Most High has said is honorable, we cause it to be dishonorable by the practices that were done in the marriage bed by leaving natural uses of certain body parts to participate. And it was something that honestly myself, once my understanding grew, I had to repent of too, because there was a time, let's be honest, we enjoyed certain acts, whether they were performed on you or whether you were performing them. We enjoyed certain acts. But one thing that our mom always said, the mouth was meant to sing praises and things to the Most High. And if you were using your mouth in a dishonorable way, think about what you were giving to the Most High out of that mouth that you just performed a dishonorable act with. Now you're there.
Brother E.
As the scriptures say, can you have sweet water and bitter water from the same fountain? That's not going to happen. Just to land back of what my brother Ben Yah just brought out about giving praises from the mouth. You can't do the abominable and then praise Yah the same way.
Yeah,
with that same mouth. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So, if our producer could put the definition of sodomy back up there, we come from our being out in the world, and we want to do things that the world does. So coming into this truth, we have to reevaluate a lot of our stances. And it says the definition of sodomy is the sexual intercourse involving anal or oral copulation. So those things, like we said, in the world, before we knew truth and knowledge, we enjoyed those things. Those things were pleasurable. But you have to, we have to go back to what the scriptures say. He calls us to be set apart, not to be like the rest of the world. So in doing that, there's a lot of the things that the rest of the world is doing, that's not for us. And I'll just leave it right there until we get further into this discussion.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Because when you start to think and you start to look, and when you start to open, the understanding starts to come, you're looking like, wait a minute, hold up. And then when we dive into what we're diving into now, you're going to see what we're talking about. Why? Because I know a lot of people that this is their thing.
Yeah.
This is their thing. Their marriage or their relationships won't work without this.
Without that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Their marriage or their relationships won't work without oral sex.
Yeah.
Or anal sex or the perversion.
The perversion.
A lot of bedrooms are built off perversion. Because you got two perverted people that come in and they bring in, and the fantasies just get going crazier and crazier. You're trying new things. Next thing you know, you got sex toys in the mix. Next thing you got edible panties. You got all this stuff that comes in from the other nations. From the other nations. All praises. But Ben Yah, we're gonna bring that out, man. I'm gonna let you lead on that.
Okay.
We're gonna bring that out because you gotta see this. Go ahead.
Salakia. So let's slow cook this text. Let's not run through it. It says, no, I'm just saying. It says in Hebrews 13, the marriage is honorable in all. So we understand that the institute or the idea of marriage that the Most High incorporated in and of itself is honorable. So we ain't even got to the bed. Let's just talk about the marriage.
Yes, sir.
What does that look like? We talk about a marriage, and I'm hoping that I'm not going over bounds. Our producer let us know, but we can't run through this particular verse because it's the foundation of the discussion tonight. What do you guys think when you hear marriage in and of itself is honorable? We're not even talking about the bed.
Con. But let me say this. Salaki June just came in. I apologize. So we have took on the nature of so many other people.
Yeah.
this goes back thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When we talk about the bedroom is undefiled, what version did you read?
No, hold on. Before we can't gotta stay.
Yeah. I'm talking about that's what I said. What version did you read?
I mean Hebrews 13:4. But before we get to the marriage bed,
facts.
It said marriage is honorable and all. What does that mean? Because we're talking about an honorable marriage. We didn't even get to the bed yet.
Like,
honorable in every which way, upstanding, upright, law, statutes, commandments, Ruach HaKodesh.
Mm-hmm.
That's honorable. That's what a marriage is, because we're modeling the marriage to Hamashiach.
Right. So I'm glad you brought that out, because when you talk about the relationship that we are to have with our king, it's not to be exploitive, abusive, defiled. Like, in other words, like when he says that marriage is honorable, like the respect that one would have for their spouse, to not abuse or cheat or bring other things into the marriage, these ideas that we got from everything else, we need to leave those things aside, because if we bring those into the marriage, we taint or we take away from what the Most High said is honorable. Go ahead. I'm just trying to walk it.
Yeah, I understand, man, because if you do that to Mashiach?
Exactly.
Because he showed us how to be a righteous husband.
Mm-hmm.
He showed us how to be a righteous husband. He said, listen, 1 Peter 3:7, Peter's talking about his experience with Mashiach.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about how he was taught to be a husband.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Husbands, love your wives according to as the scripture. He didn't say pervert your wives.
Exactly.
It didn't say pervert, because listen, I want somebody that's without spot, wrinkle, or blemish.
Yes, sir.
I'm not marrying a freak. I'm marrying a righteous woman.
Mm-hmm.
So in honorable, we have to walk as Mashiach walked, because we are his bride. All praises. Come on, brother. You jump in there.
Yeah, but what I'm going to add to that is, 1 Corinthians 7, 8 and 9. I say, therefore, to the unmarried and widowed, it is good for them to abide even as I. That's Paul talking.
Yes, sir.
And Paul was basically saying, I keep to myself. I'm not out here fornicating like everybody else. I'm walking righteously like everybody else. He says, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better for them to marry than to burn. So that's a part of that honor that you were talking about. That's that honor. It's better for them to marry than to burn. So if you're gonna, take yourself and not defile yourself, because like you said, that's the honor in marriage. You're not abusing yourself. You're not making a mockery of what God put together and blessed us for as a sacred union. And I'll leave it right there.
Because it's interesting when you even talk about all these different, just see when you look at today's society, what the Most High put together, together man and woman,
right?
Because we're talking about what's honorable. Marriage is honorable, and so the way that the Most High formulated it was that man and woman would come together, and out of that union would produce children, seed, offspring. There's no other way to produce that. And so even when you talk about the constitution of marriage, people marrying trees, animals, people marrying
the same sex.
You see what I'm saying? And so when you talk about the constitution of marriage, the word says that the marriage is honorable. And if we keep the marriage honorable, then what happens is it bears fruit. There's no other way to bear fruit. And he said that the children are my heritage. So we get off into all this other stuff.
Come on.
That's not bearing fruit. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because you ain't finna have no baby by being in a butt. You ain't finna have no baby by being in the mouth. Come on, let's just keep it 100.
Exactly.
I don't mean to sound so crass, but I'm just being real. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to produce that way.
Exactly.
You made one interest to produce. You know what I'm saying? And I would say this for the people that are lust-filled and lust-driven that are listening to this. And see, Yah will break that power off of you.
Yeah.
Yah will break that power off of your life. That you can have a righteous union.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do these things. You don't have to listen. You can have an honorable marriage.
You can have an honorable marriage.
Listen, think about it. What happens is these things start with a thought. The enemy thing brings it in with a thought. Let's say you slip up and watch porn. Now what he did was put thoughts in your head.
See,
now you coming in, you're introducing new things to trying to introduce to your spouse. So what you brought in was wickedness. You brought in what? Things that the other nations have introduced to us and have us doing. So now those things come in. Your wife is like, no, I don't want to do that. That ain't right. And she's telling you right. But yet and still, now that you got a satisfaction of seeing this porn or seeing this image in your head, you want to, I have to bring this in.
Yes, sir.
Because now you have pleasured yourself. Now you're wanting the wife to pleasure you, but now she's not. No, I'm not with that. So now you're caught in the pleasure of this boob tube on your camera, on your laptop, or on your home.
Right.
Now your marriage is what? On its way down.
Yep. It's not honorable.
It's not honorable.
We also gotta remember that, coming out of this world, we're trying to put the cat back in the bag, and we know how impossible that is. And I know it's a pun on words and everything like that, but it's one of those things that the renewing of our minds, as we spoke of at the beginning, the renewing of our minds takes us to look at things a whole different way. And Hamashiach even said in Matthew 5:28, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her in his heart. Like we've been talking about, going, since we got on here, the mind is where it all starts. That's where you have to keep the honor of marriage. That's the honor of marriage. Getting your mind right. Paul says we are new creatures by the renewing of our minds. So that's where we need to walk. We need to walk with it, starting with our minds, getting that world stink off of us, that filth, being the set apart people that he called us to be.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, man.
So it says the marriage is honorable in all, and the bed. Let's get to the dirt now. And the bed undefiled. The bed undefiled.
Come on.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to come in here real quick if y'all don't mind, because
This
is what really gets to me, because everywhere I go on Facebook where they're having this discussion, people will use the excuse, well, the marriage bed is undefiled. The marriage bed is undefiled. It bothers me because that is not what this scripture says. I just want y'all to walk with me. I taught English to high school students for almost a decade. After that, I did teach it at a college level. We are not reading this correctly. So I'm going to take us all the way back to elementary, middle, junior, and high school. We know that a sentence has a subject and a verb. If you want to be technical, that verb can be a part of the predicate. We know that sentences can be combined. So if you look at this, marriage is honorable in all, comma, and the bed undefiled. So that's two sentences joined together. I want to look at verbs. If I asked you to circle all of the verbs in this, the only verb is and will. So you have marriage is honorable in all. That's the first part of the sentence. You have a comma and, so it's introduced in the next sentence.
Yep.
But notice I did not circle anything for the bed undefiled. Why did I not circle that? There is no verb. Undefiled is an adjective. It is not a verb, people. So you are reading that wrong. What you have here is called a verbless clause. What is a verbless clause? It means it's a form of to be. So that actually reads, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed to be undefiled. So when you go and say the marriage bed is undefiled, you are not reading it correctly. It is actually implied and is saying the bed to be undefiled. And I
bring it out.
So when he says to be undefiled or the marriage bed is undefiled, what that would denote that there are things that you can do in a marriage bed. We ain't talking about adultery.
Nope.
We talking about in the marriage bed that is undefiled.
Yes, sir.
Oral sex is sodomy. To
That's
the question
correct.
that's on the book. Oral was it tighten up, Jay? Oral sex, the definition of oral sex is sodomy. So sodomy is what also defiles the marriage bed. So in other words, using body parts that are not for the natural use of what they were intended for, that is out of the will of the Most High.
So we also have to think and remember that the Most High gave us, the blessing of, having a man and wife reunion, having that beautiful sex act to produce fruit, as it was brought out earlier. All these other forms of sex was basically a birth control by other nations. That's how they used it to control the population, because if you don't, have that ejaculation into your wife, or you don't produce fruit, so they use that as other forms of birth control. Those are things that I found out in my studies, looking it up on why the other nations actually did that, bringing out the control of birth of they use homosexual sex, whether it be man or woman, because we think of it in our mind, we're conditioned that it's only homosexual sex if it's a man and a man. But what's the difference if you take a blindfold and you stick a person either gender in front of you? There you go. That's those nice descriptions there. You stick that the either gender in front of you, you can't tell the difference. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, And one of the things I used to, in my head growing up, he made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve or Eve and Evelyn. He ain't put them two together. So no combination that you put together like that is going to work.
Before you answer that, Ben, y'all know you finna jump in there on that. I know.
Oh, not yet. I think we're gonna get to
what Mo said, but what he said though, man, undefiled means not defiled. It means pure. You know what I'm saying? So the bedroom he wants the bedroom pure.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He wants it pure. He wants it untainted. He wants it uncorrupted.
Yes, yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Because he is watching. Whether you look at it or not, he is watching. So he wants to see purity. He wants to see us with honest love making, not being like the nations.
Yes, sir.
That are defiled. All praise. Jump in on that question that Moray had up there.
So Moray asked, what is the question? What is sodomy from a Hebraic sense? I guess we can get, he's going to push the Moray. Sometimes Moray be a little impatient. He pushes it.
Yeah, man, so slow down, Mo.
When you talk about, he's all gas right now. He's all gas.
Right. Let's get into it then. When you look at what is sodomy from a Hebraic sense, it's the unnatural use. And our producer extraordinaire, she had the little emojis that were on the side.
They up there.
When you get into like this, what we're talking about is the unnatural use of body parts that were not meant for that. So when you talk about Hebraic sense, we understood that if I had a rake, that rake was used to, in a sense, rake, or that sword was used to cut whatever it was used to cut, divide, whatever. When you look at our pictograms, the way that our language works, those things describe action. So when you talk about the male member, the male member is designed to be with the female member. Your mouth is designed to eat, to articulate, etc. Your mouth was never used or designed to do something of an unlawful sexual act, or when we talk about the bedroom being defiled. To use my mouth to, in a sense, do some of the things that were done, that is an unlawful sexual act. Or to have someone perform a sexual act on my male member, that is an unlawful sexual act from a Hebrew, because it was never meant for that purpose. If it was meant for singing, it was meant for talking, it was meant to eat, swallow, but it was not meant for sex. So when you talk about from a Hebraic standpoint, what is sodomy? Any sexual act that is used from a Hebraic standpoint that the designer did not intend that thing to be used for, that is sodomy from a Hebraic sense. And we could talk more about it, because I know that we could talk about Sodom and Gomorrah,
Yeah,
or we could talk about Bel Peor. I don't know which one you all want to go to, but both of them are excellent examples.
Come, we're gonna definitely get there. Let's hit that next topic though.
Go ahead.
Which one? Go ahead, bring it out, brother.
We already hit the oral sex.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had a discussion with some ox earlier today about the topics we were talking about, for as masturbation.
Mm-hmm.
Masturbation has killed a lot of marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Masturbation has killed a lot of marriages. You know, it places a false image in your head to get a thrill. It places a false image in your head to get a thrill. Many of our brothers have suffered with it for years. We were plagued with masturbation, even myself. And I know of other brothers who dealt with that spirit. And that spirit was relentless on us.
Yeah, it was.
Even in our marriage, you know, and I'll be up here to tell you, it almost destroyed mine at one point.
Me too.
I remember the year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it almost destroyed us, you know what I'm saying? But the Most High is the deliverer. Yes, because a lot of our brothers are suffering now and they can't perform in the bedroom. So when you can't perform in the bedroom because you got used to your hand, and you got used to the jail, that's not your wife.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because you have found quick pleasure in that, now you have substituted that for your wife.
Mm-hmm.
You have given up your wife for that. Now you're wondering why, when she's ready to, you can't get up, you can't perform. Why? Because you have spent your time in front of pornography or in your mind with defiled pictures. And if you built yourself up and now your body has got used to your hand, when it's supposed to be used to your wife's vagina. So now true. This image is playing in your head. This is how you get a quick feel. Even when you get mad at your wife, you get frustrated, that enemy comes in and puts that thought in your head. Then you find yourself in a corner somewhere, find yourself in a shower or a bathroom somewhere, and you're performing on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes time to perform with your wife, you have nothing for her. Or if you do, it's half-hearted because she's not the image you have in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
She's not the image you have in your head. So when people talk about, well, masturbation in the Bible, yeah, we talk about self-pleasure. But listen, my brother brought out the scripture earlier. He said, if you look on a woman with lust, you've already committed adultery. So it is a sin because you have to put a thought in your mind of someone else that brings you pleasure. And when you don't see her in clothes, you see that person naked, whether it's a man or a woman.
Yes, sir. And you know what, to kind of, in a sense, to land back on that, now the scripture implies something different, but Sukkah, can you grab Genesis 38, start at verse 6?
Before we jump off into that, we got this comment on the screen right here. You know, it says masturbation will make it hard for you actually to enjoy being with your spouse because you have learned to please yourself. This is man or woman. And your spouse cannot please you the way you can please yourself because in the process of being together as man and woman, we learn the function of how our spouses move. If we take that away from them, because that's what we're doing, that's a selfish act. We're taking that away from them because we only want to be able to be the masters of our own pleasure. And that's why he gives us over to our own vile affections, because we've taken that natural use that he's given us,
natural
man
use,
and woman, and he's brought us into this realm of, hey, I can do for myself, so I don't need you. Like my brother Sukkah said, you get mad with her, all right, I don't need you. I ain't got to do it. And the scriptures say that we ain't even supposed to separate from each other except for a certain amount of time, which is agreed upon. You know, this world has taught us that masturbation is actually a good thing because it keeps you from committing other types of acts. But our moral compass is all way off because of those simple things. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in and.
No, you're fine. That was
good. But let me say this before you get started, Ben. Y'all, you said 38, right?
Yeah, 38 verse 6 to 10.
All right, let me say this to you real quick. When we talk about masturbation, you have to understand that spirit is a battle. That spirit is a battle. And when you crack the door in your home and you got children, you got young men, young daughters, you giving access to the enemy to come in there and jump in their minds.
Yep.
Then you wonder why you find porn on the kids' thing. Now, what the heck? What the heck? What is this? We cracked the door.
Yes, sir.
We got to understand the house, our bedroom. We got to keep it pure. We have to keep it pure. You got to fight. If you're struggling with this, inbox us and we'll pray for you, because we have defeated that enemy through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. We don't touch ourselves no more. We're not defiled like that anymore. We don't watch pornography. We don't watch porn. We don't take in the clips of porn, the half-witted. These clips you might as well see now, porno, they soft porn. We don't partake in that. We keep going. We don't know, because we know what that spirit brings. We know the battle that spirit brings.
Yes, sir.
When it has you doing it when you don't want to do it. You repent 10 times, 20 times, and tell the Most High, I don't want to do it no more. But then you find yourself doing it again. But we'll pray and believe y'all break that force off of you.
That's those
we'll break
strongholds.
that power off you. Hallelujah. Let's get that. What you say, 38?
Yeah, 38, start at verse 6. The reason why I'm going there is because brothers talk about how masturbation is not in text. We're going to kind of get into it, where we may not be talking about actual masturbation, but the spilling of the seed. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I was going to bring that out too.
Genesis 38, verse 6. And Yehuda took a woman for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Yehuda's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah slew him. And Yehuda said unto Onan, go in unto your brother's woman and marry her and raise up seed to your brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's woman, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give the seed to his brother.
So when you even look at that verse, and the reason why we're going to that verse is because when you masturbate, what are you doing with your seed?
Spilling it.
You spilling it. So whether it's you pulling out, etc., the bottom line is the Most High. The seed is precious to the Most High. That's life.
It's life.
It is life.
For that seed not to go where it's intended to go, that's serious to the Most High. So if you spilling it, that's a sin to the Most High. So masturbation, again, if that seed ain't going where it's supposed to go, what are you doing with that seed? Going into the napkin, going into a towel, going into your hand, going on the sheets, but it ain't going where it's supposed to go? According to the eyes of the Most High, you spilling your seed. And if you're spilling your seed, hey, in the moment that you do, if you want to keep doing that, know that you will be dealt with.
You will be dealt with.
The question that's up there real quick, are we supposed to impregnate our mates every time we have sex? I'll put it to you this way. We're not supposed to be the cause of a seed not going and being fulfilled the way the Most High has intended it to. Exactly. It's he's the one who actually determines whether that pregnancy happens or not. It's not up to us. So in us pulling out with that coitus interruptus, what we're doing is we're taking a position as the Most High, saying, nope, I'm going to make sure that that seed right there doesn't have the intended purpose that it's supposed to have. That's all the seed that he gives us is special. Like he said, his word should not come back void. Just like he gives us seed, those seeds should not come back void. And when you spill that seed, you're making that seed void.
Exactly.
All praise. Can you put that comment that Moray said real quick? Can you put that back up real quick?
There's a couple of them that need to come back up.
Because he said, listen what he said. We can pray, but there also needs some stops in place, like putting blocks on cell phones and computers. If you got a struggle, man, be in a room with somebody. But then some people are so bold, they'll try to turn the computer and do it. But if you want to be delivered, you will go to you'll start implementing things that you know will help you. You know will help you. You don't need to be alone by yourself with no phone, especially when we get with our boys, get with our kids. I check phones.
Right.
I check phones around here. I go in on them. You know what I'm saying? But listen, you got to put things in place. Don't be a fool. If you know you're not strong, you know you done repented 50, 60 times behind the same thing. And you're not strong yet, you're not there yet, do something to help you. Do something to help you. Like my Moray taught, he said, listen, you know you finna struggle, call somebody. Quit Quit being embarrassed. Quit letting pride stop you from being healed and delivered. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead, Ben. Y'all use for say something.
So it says, so are we supposed to use condoms? No. Listen, if the Most High will for you to have the children, you're going to have the children. He's the one that opens up the womb. He's the one that gives the life. So whatever children you're going to have are going to be the children you have. The bottom line is, according to the book, we are not supposed to be spilling our sperm.
Come on.
That's the book. And not to mention, because we're talking about masturbation and the marriage bed being undefiled. I just want to read a couple verses. I don't want to read all of this, but 2 Timothy 3 talks about it. Because never mind. 2 Timothy 3 talks about this. This also, that we know that in the last days, perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. So when you talk about lovers of their own selves, that covers a myriad of things. It says covetousness, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedience to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection. So we're talking about without natural affection. That means these toys.
Come on, hit that jump.
Bring it out.
All of this stuff, master. Listen, I had a older man when I was I wouldn't say I was a teenager. I might have been a freshman in college or something like that. He said that masturbation was a form of homosexuality, and I never looked at it like that, and it still didn't stop me from doing it. But I never looked at it like that from a standpoint of I didn't, because I didn't want to. I rejected that because I didn't want to. But when because I didn't want to get that up. But when I got older, I can see why he would say that, because you do get familiar with your own touch.
Yes, you do.
Same thing for females. If you're playing with yourself, or you got toys and little vibrators and them dildos and all this other stuff, and these guys be putting stuff, little beads in they, they doing all that wicked stuff and all this other stuff to so-called enhance your experience. All this choking and hair pulling and stuff like that. What happens is you're bringing another spirit into the bedroom.
Come on, man.
I remember our mom dealt with us before, because people talk about makeup sex.
Come on, man.
Sex is not of the Most High.
It's not.
What happened is you're angry and all huffed up and roughed up, and she's angry, and then y'all not in the right spirit, and y'all coming together in that spirit, and woo, that was good and all wonderful. No, what was happening? Those spirits were having intercourse. That had nothing to do with you loving your wife and your wife loving you. Go ahead, Sue.
That's crazy you said that, man. Listen, peep this out. And this just to land back off what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Those spirits come together right now. Now, what you just did with the makeup sex, and you still pissed off at each other, but the makeup sex is bomb. It's off the chain. It's off the charts. So now that feeling right there places the normal lovemaking.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got to argue to get that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You got to argue to start a fight, to go have makeup sex, to get that feeling. You see,
exactly.
You see how these spirits tricked you?
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to argue.
Right.
Now you got to argue. Now, as this argument go, so, okay, we going to make love now.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no love involved.
Ain't no love.
That spirit. That's that spirit you invited in.
That's that lust.
That spirit gets in.
Because what he did, he got you comfortable thinking that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, my orgasm was so hard. But you can have that on a normal basis if you put the work in.
Absolutely. But, when you talk about those spirits that's coming in, you've also, people don't even realize that arguing, you invited that spirit of division into your house, because there has to be a spirit of division in order for you to argue. You got to have that spirit of division. So you're just inviting not just that lust spirit in, but you're inviting another spirit that comes in, that spirit of division. So guess what? That spirit, when that lust spirit comes on, that spirit of division is sitting in a corner waiting for that lust spirit to finish so it can go back into rotation and say, hey, now that you're done, it's my turn to come in here, break up what Yah has put together. Mm-hmm. So like you said, it's just a merry-go-round where it keeps going, where we have to get angry in order for us to have this good sex, and then we have that makeup sex, and then I got to get angry with you again in order for us to have that sex. And so now that's how the scriptures say, you have that one spirit that left, walks in dry places, it comes back, brings 7 more that's stronger than him. That's that spirit of division. That's a strong one, especially in marriages. That's a strong one where arguing with something that, it happens because people have their personalities, but it shouldn't be one of those things that it's supposed to be an enhancer to a sexual relationship.
Read that up there on the screen, brother E.
Did you shave your genital hair?
Should you?
That's what I said. Should you shave your genital hair?
Can I say this?
Go ahead, bro. All day.
Listen, and this could be the social worker in me. Why would you want, not you, I'm not to the brother, and I know the brother, I love you, and I was about to say I'm about to come and find you. He been MIA, so it's good to see you, young brother. But should you shave your genital hair? Let me say this. I think that's a sign of perversion. This is just me. I think that's a sign of perversion. I think genital hair is for grown-ups, grown women, grown men. And so I think a person who shaves their genital hairs, and usually you see that among men who are into little girls.
Come on, man. They want to see that. They want to see that.
You
that
see what I'm
9-year-old
saying? Yeah, that junk. And so I think that's a sign of perversion. And based on my line of work and what I've been dealing with in all my 20 plus years of doing that kind of work, you usually see them type of dudes that prefer that rather than the look of a grown person. Whether you shaving yours or whether you her shaving hers, that's off.
Con, let me answer this one. This my moral. I love you, sis. So if one gets a vasectomy or get the tubes tied, is that a sin because it's stopping seed? To me, no. Let me explain something to you. My wife had 5 C-sections. 5 C-sections. If she would have had another one, she probably would have died. Because she almost died after the second one. And we had 3 more after that. And the last one was my son. And they told her, you cannot have any more children. So we agreed and we consulted our mom, who was a prophet. And she said, go ahead. So my wife had her tubes tied. So we didn't have any more children after that. Now I say it for that reason. Now you got some people that do it because they just don't want to have children. And that's not the will of the Most High.
I will say this. I'm glad that it was a Penny ad that she brought that up. Now, from my standpoint, that's something that as a man, I do regret doing. The reason why I regret it is because it talks about like these crushing of the testicles, messing with your sword, etc. That's something that if I understood the scriptures, if I knew that we were the people of the book, the Torah, I would not have done it. I will say this, that if the Most High wants us to have another child, we'll have another child. Like there's no operation that we can do. Even the doctors say that those things are 99%, whatever they are, that there's still a possibility. And I know for years, my wife was still waiting for one to get through because she said I never went back to get double checked or tested or some junk like that. But I went and I got it. So I mean, I'm the one that went and got the surgery. So we haven't had any kids. So you're not pregnant. I doubt you get pregnant. But I do believe that the Most High, if he wanted us to have another one, not even a vasectomy would have stopped it.
And I'm gonna land back off what you just said. Jordan was our last one.
Mm-hmm.
And we were using protection.
Yes, sir.
In Buena Park, we were using protection because she did not want to get pregnant. Every time I had a box. And who here?
I can give you some real world testimony on that. My wife and I, when we first got together, we weren't looking to have kids. One of the things us being in the world, she was actually on birth control. And, you think that, birth control is, hey, we can ball out. We can do whatever we want. And we got our son, blessing of Yah, like you said, what he has in store, man can't stop.
Yeah,
he can't stop. Now, Amari Israel, the question that you posed, it says, so if your husband bought you a toy, He bought you a toy because he can't have sex. Is it a sin even though he gave you permission to use it on yourself? I'm going to have to let my brothers chime in on this one here.
Listen, the word, when you talk about vows, we made vows before the Most High, for better, for worse, for which you pour in sickness and health, to death do us part. And so if that's a part of you that can't operate no more, that's where you learn self-control and long suffering. And so to invite toys in for self-pleasure, can you give me Romans 1st chapter, I think it's 27 and 28.
Let me help her too.
Yeah.
You get that for him, brother E. Get that, please.
I got that coming up.
Let me help you out, sis. My wife was a severe diabetic, and it was times she would break out in the worst yeast infections just because she was diabetic. The worst. You can ask my sisters. They seen it. I had to clean them. I had to be there. I took care of her. And sometimes it would be 2 month spans before I can even think about touching her.
Mm-hmm.
Before I can even touch it. And I didn't go touch myself. I didn't pleasure myself. I'd be right there with her, laying in the bed next to her. And her thought would be, do you still love? Yeah, I love you, girl. What you mean? What you need me to do?
Yeah.
You ain't got to worry about that. That thing ain't here no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was months at a time, sometimes 2 or 3 months, because it would be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But where was I? Right next to my wife. If it would have went on where I couldn't touch her, where was I at? Right next to my wife. Right next to my wife. In the bed with her. Watching Be Love or somebody, or watching Lifetime or something, you know. But why? Because I love that woman.
Mm-hmm.
All praises. Go ahead with that question. Bring that question back, super producer.
Start at verse 26, brother.
I was going to ask you if you want me to start at verse 25.
Go ahead.
All right.
I was trying to cut it short. We can go at verse 21, but now we start verse 25.
All right. Romans 1st chapter, verse 25. This is the KJV.
Yes, sir.
Who changed the truth of Yah into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator, also is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, Yah gave them up to vile affections.
Vile affections.
For even their women did change the natural use into which is against nature. Likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one towards another. Men with men, working that which is unseemingly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. And even as they did not like to retain Yah in their knowledge, Yah gave them over to their reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient.
So when you talk about the natural use, burning in your own lust, burning in your passion, if your husband is not able to perform, if your wife is not able to perform, you're still to walk as a son and daughter of the Most High. Listen, toys, your mind still has to go somewhere in order for those toys to pleasure you. So if you got to cast down all these vain imaginations that you have to invite in your mind, because if you're messing around with toys, who are you thinking about? Are you thinking about your husband?
Come on.
Where's your mind at that toy that your husband, for the lady that asked that question, that your husband bought you, that your mind will have to go somewhere else? In other words, you're inviting something else into your marriage. Remember, the beginning of Hebrews 13:1 says the marriage is honorable. And then it goes into the bed is undefiled. So bringing toys, masturbation, and all of this other stuff into the honorable marriage, it now defiles the activity in your bed, because now you have to invite people, you have to invite objects, you have to invite all this other stuff into your marriage bed that does not belong in your marriage bed. What the Most High has intended, what he has designed, it is good enough. We have to make it work, but it is good enough.
I want to land back of what you just said in incorporating that. We touched upon it at the very beginning. This was a marriage that was basically when we look at our marriage, we have to look at our marriage as being married to the Messiah. Would we bring those things into our bedroom being married to the Messiah?
Right.
Would we introduce anything that was unholy, that was not called for by him, because all these other things were products of other nations, them having a burning desire to have objects and have them objectified with phalluses everywhere, or things of unnatural things. So it's, as a wife, as a bride to the Messiah, would we say to the Messiah, well, since you can't perform, I need to go get something else?
That's a good one. That's good.
Because that's why we have to always walk this. We have to walk these things. You know, you hear the world always say, well, what would Jesus do? Well, if we're supposed to be Christ-like and walk how he walked in Torah. He walked in sound truth. And walking in sound truth, we have to walk the same way. So what would he do? He would still be faithful to the Most High.
Hallelujah.
I love Sister Deborah's question. Listen, let me say, is the husband or wife touching their spouse genitalia considered masturbation? You know, ergo, I guess, e.g. is ergo foreplay. Now, masturbation. Thank you, Morez. But
come on, man.
Yeah, my brother be on it.
Good looking.
So the idea is to not touch. Like, I'm not wanting my wife to touch me to release, because that, like I said, spilling the seed or spilling that sperm, that's against the Most High. Now, to me, I don't see no problem with warming up the engine.
Come on now.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
You're gonna touch on everything.
Yeah, let's be real.
You're gonna grab breasts. You're gonna grab the side. You're gonna grab the cheeks. You're gonna grab. You're gonna rub on it, man.
Touch, rub.
Smack a booty.
Certain things. The mouth, like the mouth, can go on certain things. It can't go down there, but there's certain things that we know that the mouth can go on from a male perspective.
Come on.
Because there's exploration or touching that is appropriate. That you need to warm up the engine, because if you as a man don't warm up the engine, it's gonna cause you some problems.
Ain't no lubrication flowing.
Right.
You gotta have oil in the engine.
Yes,
you gotta have oil in the engine. It got to listen. If it rain, it get wet, baby.
Yes.
Come on now.
Ain't no such thing as dry rain.
We ain't no dudes in the 1800s don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing back in the 1800s.
Some of them did.
Don't let it fool you. That's how all these kids was brought about. They knew what they was doing.
Yeah,
all crazy.
It might have been called the Victorian era at that time, but you know they still was doing the things, because look at how Sodom and Gomorrah got down. Look at how all these, you know, the nations that surrounded us, they were so enthralled with, you know, perverse acts of what the Most High gave us as a blessing.
You're right, Sister Deborah. Yes, sir. I hear you, brother E.
It's you know, it's a great thing for us to have that blessing, to be able to have that union, to, you know, procreate for him. He created us as a nation that, you know, is to serve him. So all of these things that he gives us, you know, he gave us hands to touch. He gave us senses to feel. We're not supposed to subvert those things because we are holier than thou. We're supposed to enjoy those things. It's pleasurable. That's why he made sex pleasurable. He did make it pleasurable, because if it's not pleasurable, then guess what? It becomes a job, it becomes a task, and you don't want to do it.
And let me say this. Take time to know your spouse's body.
Exactly.
Take time to know your spouse's body. You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about oil sex. We ain't talking about that. That's not knowing. No, we're talking about the woman's back, the woman's side, the woman's thighs. You know what I'm saying? Her breasts. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talked about the breasts of a woman. We figure we go straight porn. We go straight porn mode. We want to bring everything in here because we haven't renewed our minds.
Right.
And we not renewing our mind, we see everything what we used to do. I'm gonna hit that like I used to hit it. I'm gonna do it like I used to do it. You know what I'm saying? And listen, and let me keep it 1,000 with you. Every woman's speed is different. So you coming in here running like a jackrabbit and running like a train, and then you wonder why she's not getting fulfilled like she was? Because what? You got that old mindset in here.
Yes, sir.
How do I feel about 2 wives? You got 2 houses?
That's it.
Bring it out.
That's
How
it.
do I feel about 2 wives?
They
You got
quick
2
to
tents.
jump on that.
I'm glad he went there.
You got 2 houses.
Thank you for breaking that seal.
Will her living not diminish?
Right.
Mhm.
If her living won't diminish and you got 2 houses, that's your business, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't afford 2 houses and pay the bills and her living does not diminish, you need to sit down somewhere. That's lust.
Yeah,
Stop trying to be like the world.
Ain't no such thing as having both women in the same bed with you.
That's defiled.
That's lust.
That's
defiled.
That's fornication. That's pornography.
Come on, all day long.
That's that porn stuff.
Pornophilia.
Yes.
Come on. If you got 6 women, I've seen a dude with 6 women in the house living in one house, dude. Come on, man. You know what's going down in there, man.
Right.
It's Freaknik in there.
Yes. Because brothers are all, especially in Israel, brothers are quick to say this and bring up the fact that they can have multiple wives, and we're gonna get to your question, Sister Regina, but they quick to bring up this multiple wives thing and come out and say that, but they can't be in the same house.
They would according to Torah
around touching on each other while you touching on them or watching or whatever. That's that pornography stuff.
Yes, it is.
That's that stuff. That's that stuff that defiles the bedroom. That the Most High, that Bel Peor stuff that the Most High is against. Go ahead, brother E.
You just hit it right there on the head, like you said. If you sitting there watching them touch on each other, now you're causing them to break Torah. You're causing them to sin because guess what? You are condoning them having the use of woman with woman, which is again, we read the scriptures. It says that they went against the natural use of their body, women with women. So guess what? If you're condoning that, then you're breaking Torah and you're in error, causing them to sin. So now judgments are going to be on you heaped greater because you walked contrary to what Yah told us to walk.
And hold on, let me say, Salaki, Aki Demetrius, that's not to bash you, brother. That's not to bang on your head, but that's to give you wisdom and understanding.
Absolutely.
If we're going to do the book, let's do the book and let's do it according to Torah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So understanding that, if you take care of 2 houses and you afford it, listen, history tells us that the men that did this were wealthy. They weren't 9-to-5 people.
All of our forefathers that did this work had great substance.
Yes,
had great substance. Abraham, he had great substance. Isaac had great substance. Jacob had great substance. They all had great substance. Where our forefather Solomon went awry is he started inviting them to his castle under one roof.
All praises. Let's hit this next one.
So to touch the woman, because we are trying to clean it up for the two, to touch the woman with these,
yes,
there's no problem. There's no that helps add to the stimulation.
Revving the engine.
Masturbation is self-pleasure.
Yeah. So if I'm touching my wife in an appropriate manner or an affectionate way, my touch in stimulating her, whether I touch her back
down there,
or down there, or rub other things, I would hope in her touching me, it revs up the engine. Does that make sense? So go ahead.
To go back to what my brother, big brother Sukasuk was talking about, he says, get to know your woman. Some people will know their cars better than they know their women.
Ooh, say that again, bro.
They can tell you everything that's wrong with their car, but they can't tell you how to work their woman the way that they work their car. And that's sad.
Come on, because listen, and just to land back off that, brothers, listen, take your time. Quit being speed racer, bro. Because if we continue to move in these different directions, man, somebody's gonna get it. Somebody's not gonna get pleasure. Then the enemy cracks the door and comes in. So now, what happens? That person goes back in their thoughts on how they were pleased by someone else because you weren't taking the time to know their body. Let's keep it a buck. The enemy is slick. He's crafty. He's divisive. So when you come in, thinking because you done seen 100 pornos and your mind is bent on how I'm gonna bend her over like this, I'm gonna strap her over like this, I'm gonna lay her over like this, and that might not be what it takes. Then some of y'all wondering why your woman ain't never had an orgasm in the marriage you've been by. She's never, if she told you that she haven't been pleased and she's never had an orgasm, it'll blow some of y'all minds. Because why? You still trying to act like a porn star after 10 or 15 years of being married. Let's keep it 100. Go ahead, Al.
Can I give you a verse?
Yes, you can.
1 Corinthians 7, verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication or all that porneia, let every man have his own woman, and let every woman have her own man. And let the man, as you were just talking about, render unto the woman due benevolence, and likewise also the woman unto the man. Yes. And the woman have not power over, which is a whole nother discussion, have not power over her own body, but the man. And likewise the man have power over his own body, not have power over his own body, but the woman. Don't defraud one another. Another discussion.
Come on.
That's where I was going.
And learn to take time.
Yeah.
Take time with each other.
Not only take time, but stop withholding.
Come on, man. You holding them drawers, something wrong with you.
Yeah, man. Especially if you're a man and you withhold.
Oh, man, I got a problem with you, bro.
Man, shoot, man, look.
Get out your feelings.
Yeah.
Sex should not be a punishment or a tool or a weapon used to exact revenge on your spouse. Yeah. Because in doing that, you invite spirits in. Those spirits come in because, like they were saying, hey, you know what? She ain't giving me none. Man, now you go through that mental Rolodex of
memories first.
Shorty this and shorty that. You know, that's it. Like you said, it always starts with thoughts. That's why Hamashiach says even the thought of, you know, the lust of another woman is committing adultery, because that's where it comes from.
Right. Yeah.
All praises. And listen, if he's not where you need him to be, teaching. And if she's trying to show you how to make it pleasurable for her and telling you to slow down, quit going so fast, take your time. You can kiss on my chest, you can kiss on my side, you can kiss on my back. Take your time, because she's showing you. She's telling you how to bring the pleasure into the group.
Well, I'll say this to also amplify what you're saying. In this, like you say, like the topic says, these uncomfortable conversations. The problem is society has taught men that they are supposed to already know how.
Society
has taught men that they're supposed to know how. So what happens is when society perpetuates this, you know, like you say, one size fits all, jackhammer style of relationship, men have this I know what I'm doing attitude because that's what we're taught. Sometimes the women are reluctant. They're reluctant to say, hey, I can show you how to please me, because she don't want to bruise his ego. Bruise that ego. Teach. If you teach, then guess what? There'll be less adultery, less children outside of, you know, outside of wedlock, and everybody will be satisfied. And like you said, those pleasurable moments of orgasm will be achieved because she showed you her. You can't drive all cars the same way. You don't drive a Bentley the way you drive a Lamborghini. You wouldn't put them on the same roads.
But you brought up something key, and I'm going to bounce it right back to you. I'm going to throw it right back to you, Brother E. You said society.
Oh, that's true. That's so very true.
And what I mean by that is, from a historical context, we always know that society has had impact on the way that the Hebrews, Israelites, have practiced and have brought certain practices and defilement in the bedroom, like per se, like Bel Peor.
Explain Bel Peor, brother, because a lot of people don't know what Bel Peor is.
Where is that in the Bible?
Numbers.
Numbers what?
22.
22 through 25.
Chapter 22 through 25. Those
chapters, there's 4 chapters. It deals with Bel Peor specifically. But if you got, when you talk about from a societal standpoint, I would love for you to bring that out, Brother E.
from a societal standpoint, what happens is, like you said, the surrounding nations that surrounded us, whereas now we're living in our land of captivity, so these nations are always around us. But back in the biblical days, when we moved as a nation, isolated to ourselves, because that's how we moved. We moved as a nation because, as we know, Yah only worked with 18 different nations. So, as this question, society also taught sex before marriage. That is so true. If they will both learn together, then there wouldn't be this separation because both would be experiencing the first time. Perfect. That is perfect. And like
bring
our
up
brother
that
just talks, has shaped our minds, and the society has shaped our minds. And what happened is Belpure was a god of, I think it was the Assyrians that at that time was into perverse sexual acts, and he was actually Baal was trying to he's trying to curse Israel, and no matter what he did, he sent a prophet out to curse Israel, and that prophet said, "Hey, as long as they're walking with the Most High, there's nothing I can do. But if we can get them to perform as we do, we get them out of the right standing with the Most High." And how did they do that? It was always in our nation's desire and curiosity to live as the other nations and do what the other nations did. So we walked into their debauchery, because not only throughout history, Valpure is not just a one-time thing. It was through every single one of the captivities we went through. Every single nation had their own version of Belpure, where in the Greek times you had, Diana. That was their goddess of fertility. She was also known as Ishtar in every different captivity we went through. So there was a lot of orgies that went on. There was a lot of debauchery that went on. And
go ahead. No,
Oh,
finish. No, I thought you had pause. I thought you were done. Finish that.
No. Go ahead. I'm good right there.
No, it's crazy that you brought that up, because in Maccabees, let me see. I think it's Maccabees 2. I'm gonna go to chapter 6, verse 7. It says, let me make sure I'm in the right Maccabees. Yep, chapter 6, verse 7. And it says, in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraints. It's talking about the ancestors. This Greece was in charge. They were brought by bitter constraints to eat sacrifices. So they were forced to eat swine. And when the feast of Bacchus, and Bacchus was that what you talked about, that Diana worship, they were kept, and the Yahudim were compelled to go in by procession to Bacchus and carrying ivy. That Bacchus worship, or that Bacchus worship, was they were forced to perform immoral sexual acts, girl on girl, guy on guy, orgies, sodomy, all of this stuff. So every nation that we encountered, when we got involved with them, one of the main things that they did in order to get us to sin against our Elohim and get into these defiled acts, you see the emojis on the side, was these sexual acts. Revelation 2:14, Pergamos. In the church of Pergamos. Revelation 2:20, Thyatira. One of the main things that Paul talked against was sexual immorality, these sexual acts that would come in and they would influence the practices in the church. That's why you got a lot of pastors that can't stop sleeping with the members. They sleeping with the girls, little girls, and the kids. Sometimes they sleeping with the men,
the boys.
And then on top of that, that when you talk about the Nicolaitans, the Nicolaitan doctrine, part of that was wife swapping, sharing the wives and stuff like that. So when Paul is dealing with this stuff in these churches, he's not dealing with this stuff in these churches just to say stuff just for the sake of saying it. He's saying it because these were the Grecian culture, the Grecian influence, the Roman culture. They were doing these things, and these things infiltrated. So there had to be a deliverance in Israel that had to take place in order for us to get back to honorable marriage and the undefiled bed. We never did finish Hebrews 13:4, but get back to that point.
I want to touch on the Hebraic meaning of Baal Peor. When you look up the word Baal, Baal means Lord. Lord. Pure means opening. So he's the Lord of the opening. Or another word for Lord is husband. He's the husband of the opening. So that's where that Baal pure comes from. It encompasses all those things. So it lets you know that he's that spirit. He's that spirit that wants every hole. He wants to defile every hole.
Yeah, they were worshiping at the altars.
Come on,
right.
Yeah, so so the woman's member would be an altar, and you had to worship at that altar. The male member would be that altar, and you had to worship at that altar.
Absolutely.
That was Bel Peor. And then, like we said, that gets off into that Bacchus and all these other nations making us practice these things that were unseemly or defiling the bedroom.
Come on. Well, he said he's the God of holes. He's the God. One definition is the God of holes. So he reigned over the holes, the sexual thing. That's right.
Right.
Lord of the wide opening. Just think about it. If we really sit back and think about it, some of the women like, some of us have been taught right.
Right.
And some of our women, you didn't got with that woman, and because you didn't pressure that woman, now you push that woman into something else. Or
into sin.
You pressure that man. Come on, you can just lick it for a little bit, or you know what, girl? Come on, man. Your mama ain't here, your daddy ain't here. Go ahead, we can get in. Come on. And then now she's something else. And now because you introduced that to her, and that person likes that now, they went off into other stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
My mom said, she told me years ago, she said, well, sin will take you far as you want to go and keep you longer than you want to stay. It'll take you far as you want to go and keep you longer than you want to stay. Some people get introduced to something and it springboards them into all type of stuff. Then you look up and you see that person years later, you be like, what the heck?
That's them gateway things. You know how they say they got gateway drugs? You got gateway things when it comes to sexuality also.
My little cousin got turned out at a young age. Next thing you know, she was on the streets hooking gladly. People took her off the streets, brought her back. Come on, we need you, we love you. Next thing you know, she's right back on the streets hooking.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just going to be transparent. I got open to some things at a young. I think I was 5 years old. Somebody introduced me to some stuff that I didn't know anything about. But the shame of it was that if I enjoyed it, it felt good. And because it felt good, from the time I was 5 to the time I got older, I was sexualized. Like you talk about, I guess, Freud's concept of latency and all this other stuff. I was never latent. I was always of a perverted mind or perverted mindset because some stuff got introduced to me before its time.
Facts. And it happened. We had young kids being unsupervised in the streets.
Yeah.
We playing hide and go get it. We playing all types of stuff. You touching those, you behind closed doors and stuff like that. With let me see it. Let me see it. You gonna show me today? You know, you pressuring each other. Yeah. At a young age and introducing things at a young age. This thing is normal, so that's why you better be watchful over your kids, what they watch and what they see. Check them phones. Get off that TikTok. The devil is perverting everything out there. Everything is perversion now.
You got to think about it. When we were growing up at a younger age, you know, they had some sort of restraints on things. You had to watch adult content after dark. Everything was always after dark.
Guys.
The doors are wide open now.
Yeah.
The doors are wide open now. There's no after dark anymore. Everything is available
right
at
now.
all times of the day. If you want it, it's all times of the day. It's ready there. It's right there for you. You don't have to, you know, you don't even have to hide it. You know, it's crazy that the society, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, societal norms have infiltrated Israel so much that our mindset has been perverse so much away from his Torah, his right way of walking, that, you know, for a lot of us Hebrew brothers and Hebrew sisters, we don't see anything wrong with some of these sex acts that are, you know, considered to be normal.
Come on, man.
Like I said, they're considered to be normal, but with our renewing of our mind, we got to walk right. You know, as we talked about and touched on earlier, if everybody is brought up in the right way, where your first encounter is with your wife, your spouse, the one that you're betrothed to. Our society teaches us now, hey, I need to go find my own woman. Our fathers fought with our forefathers. They found a wife for us.
Yeah, it was
covenant. They found a wife for us. It was a covenant between two families to make sure that, guess what? Our bloodline, our family, our traditions stayed within our country.
Come on. And it's crazy. Let me say that back this real quick. It's time to go back to the ancient path.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Point blank period. Mo said it's sex marriage. Whew, that's a deep question.
You know what? I studied that.
I don't want to cut you up. I want to cut you up, but this is my take on that. It's the covenant that binds the marriage, because you have instances in the scriptures where you have fornication, you have adultery and things like that, and that doesn't make it a marriage. It's the covenant that this woman is betrothed to me, and when we finalize this final portion of that covenant, we come together and become one flesh. And that's where I have my stance on it. I'm sorry, like I said, I didn't mean to jump all over you, brother, but I wanted to get that.
No, you're fine. No. Man, there's a few questions hitting the thing. Okay. Please leave that question up.
All gas, man. All gas.
Right. We got to get back to Sister Keela's question too. But it's sex marriage. Now, I do know I've seen in scriptures where dudes had intercourse with what was harlots, and I don't know, from my understanding of scriptures, unless there was an agreement or a covenant, they were not considered marriage. Now, I will say this: if a man took a woman that was a virgin, that was a virgin, according to Torah, he was required to marry her and stay with her, even though there was no agreement, and he had to pay the dowry to the father for defiling his daughter. Now, if the father agreed to that, then he could give his daughter, who was a virgin, to that man. But now, if his dad didn't agree to that virgin or that maiden, he could still take the dowry, but give his daughter to a man eventually that would be one that was befitting of the situation. But now, when it comes to, I guess, in a sense, quote unquote, harlots, which is why I was wanting to finish the rest of Hebrews 13 and 14, when it talks about whoremongers and adulterers, he said that he's going to judge. The Most High don't just want us around here sexing, spilling sperm. So it's important for our daughters to be kept and our sons to be kept, because that was not whatever the Most High desired. And he said he's going to judge whoremongers and adulterers. But that's my understanding on the sex is marriage piece, because I do know that I think it was Judah who thought he was joining himself to a harlot, and he ended up having sex with his daughter-in-law, and she ended up having a baby for him because he thought he was just sleeping with them, And
he honored her too.
Yeah, he had to honor her.
What was David's daughter's name? David's daughter was raped by her brother. In the process of telling her brother, he said, "Don't you know that my father will give you to me? Give me to you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he said that to him. He said, "If you just but ask."
Brother.
Yeah.
I want to touch back on that, multiple wife things also. If we're going to do it by the book, the man didn't choose the multiple wife.
Mm-hmm.
He was always given by his first wife to be given to the husband. So the man didn't have no choice in who the other woman was.
Mm.
When you read all those scriptures, there's always she gave her handmaid to the husband. He ain't had no say to it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Con. Sister Akila asked the question, what about different sexual positions? Let me say this to you, Sister Akila. The nations brought in all type of different things. They brought in all type of different positions that bring you into other things. So be careful with that, because a lot of what we take, or a lot of my take on that and the studies from that is we have a lot of ways of the heathen. We perform a lot of things that the heathen do, and we get into crass things. So you know what I'm saying? You got to keep it righteous, and he'll let you know. Believe me.
I just say be mindful of your intent. I guess I don't know. I'm not one that's against positions.
No, not against. Yeah,
but I would just say be mindful of your intent. Make sure you're not going off into some other stuff. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't see positions as a problem.
I know. All praise. Any more questions? Anybody got any more questions?
This has been good. I've been enjoying this.
So, can you put that up, producer? What you asked?
I didn't ask the question.
Okay. All praises. No more questions. Somebody Ox said about. I'll let you put it up. You right. I ain't getting backstage.
Yeah, you about to.
I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it.
Hey, you about to get cut.
I ain't even do it.
You started to, man. You know better. Again, the Most High is the giver of life. Birth control, condoms. He's the giver of life. None of that was supposed to be in our marriage bed. No. Matter of fact, the birth control, it messes up the woman's body, messes with her, her ovulation, etc. And condoms, you might as well just be spilling the sperm on the ground. God. If it's the will of the Father for you to have the children, you're going to have them. If not, you're not going to have them. It's not every time you touch your wife that she gets pregnant. She's not going to get pregnant every time you touch her.
And let me say this. When you talk about that, me and my wife, when we first got married, my wife wanted a baby so bad. Everybody in the family knew she wanted to be pregnant so bad. Yeah. We didn't get pregnant until almost 7-8 months later.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah, because the Most High showed my mom was down in the stall in the bathroom, and the Most High showed her a diagram on the back of the door, and showed her the ovaries, and the Most High showed my mom that one of the ovaries was blocked, one of the tubes, whatever the tubes, fallopian tubes, one of them was blocked, and he said, "I'm going to open up Linda's womb." Months later after that, my wife was pregnant, and next thing you know, we was pregnant, and we had 5 kids together.
Had a lot of babies.
And we had 5 kids, and they told her she can't have no more. So when he wants someone here, he want that specific individual here, they're going to be here.
You guys walked scripture just like our forefathers did, because Isaac wanted a child.
God.
Isaac wanted a child. And what did he do? He entreated Yah to say, you know what, Yah? I want the seed to continue your line. Yeah. Because Rebecca, she was, her womb was shut by the Most High.
Yeah. Is spilling the seed the same as murder? Yes. Bottom line is the Most High, he was against it.
He's against it.
The word says the seed is life. And so if you spilling it, it might as well be a male's form of abortion.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Facts.
Come on, y'all. Any more questions out there? Any more questions? Come on. I know your mind is wondering. We ticking. And then don't be embarrassed and let pride stop you from asking the question. Don't let pride. We need everybody out there to like, comment, subscribe too. Please like, comment, hit the thumbs up button for us while you're here. We got 30-some people watching. Please hit that thumbs up button for us. Go ahead and leave us a subscription. Honor us with you subscribing to the channel. We're going to give you, it's not the Ruach, it's not us. Plain and simple. That's our motto. If it's not the Ruach, it's not us.
The Most High, sorry, my fault. The Most High was so serious about this sexual immorality thing that when you look at Leviticus 18, and he says, don't do what you did in Egypt. He said, don't do what the acts of Egypt in which I brought you out of, nor in the land of Canaan, which I'm taking you to. The first thing that the Most High hits is all this sexual immorality. I mean, listen, people was changing the game up even then, and they still changing the game up now. People's having sex with each other's parents,
animals,
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when they talk about as the end times will be as in the days of Noah, so that thing has always been. So even now, you see people marrying trees and fooling around with trees, and people fooling around with animals and messing around with all that nasty stuff. That's the same spirit that's out today. The Most High is telling us, don't do that junk
right now.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing.
Everything that's been walking, everything that was walking aforetimes is walking now. It's just more prevalent, more bold, and people are not ashamed to hide it anymore.
We do not have to use or move natural uses of certain body parts. I can caress my wife. I can touch.
Come on, man. I can feel on my wife. You can feel on your wife.
She can touch me and all that. She doesn't have to use other body parts to stimulate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. It could be so much if you just let Yah do it for you. Let him deliver your mind. Let him deliver your mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let him deliver your mindset. You can be free of masturbation. You can be free of pornography. You can be free of all those sexual sins. You don't have to be a whore. You ain't got to act like you got to sleep with every Tom, Dick, and Harry just to get fulfilled. You don't have to sleep with multiple women all the time. You can be delivered of it. You can be delivered of that spirit. The Most High will deliver you. These men you see here are product of deliverance. He struggled with certain things. We went through certain things for years.
It is crazy because it's funny that you talk about that, because even when you talk about like lust and stuff like that, like, man, I like, listen, man, I had lust issues like a fat kid with cake. The bottom line is, you got to also recognize your triggers, your stronghold. I found out even recently that in rejection, for whatever reason, rejection was a strong. I think I know what goes back to, but those are a lot of other unresolved childhood issues. But rejection was the gateway or an avenue for me. And if I felt rejected, then you get off into acts of self-soothing, pleasing of myself, etc. Why? Because I let whatever situation that made, like feeling that rejection, I let that thing get to me. And so what I've found out even recently, that rejection shows up in different ways. But that was my stronghold. I think sometimes when you get off into loving of yourself or self-soothing, you need to find out where that stronghold is in your life. What is it that you're bringing to the marriage? Because the marriage is honorable and the bed is undefiled. What are you bringing into the marriage that could cause you to want to self-soothe and do things to pleasure yourself?
And you got to watch. Go ahead.
Like you said, it manifests in different ways. Like you say, self-soothing for some. Some people it was eating. Some people it's watching of certain things. I'm gonna tell you now, for a transparent moment for myself, I was an internet hoe. I used to, be on the internet, and that was my way of being able to move around and everything like that. But I am grateful and I'm blessed that y'all put me in the path of my wife. Because with that, even though I struggled, she stood beside me, and she's been here with me to help me to overcome a great deal. So I owe the union that we have to the Most High, because that union, is a happenstance, because, I was in one place, she's in another place. Yeah, the internet brought us together, but that didn't mean that we could actually be on the computer at the same time to meet each other. So that was a Yah blessing. And from that, this union that we have together and this walk that we have together is nothing but a testament to the Most High. And I give him all praises for that.
You can know about that computer love.
Yeah, I met my wife on AOL chat room. 1999, December 1999. I met her on AOL chat room. She was in Ohio and I was in Los Angeles. We talked for months.
All praises.
We talked for months. And the Most High told me to go, and I went, and I've been stuck ever since. All praise, beautiful family. But let me say this before we get up out of here, unless there are any questions from our producer. Let me say this: when you get mad or you get angry in a relationship, don't let leaving be the first thing that happens. Get the thoughts that come to your head right away. Get the triggers that's going to trigger you to do something or say something or move in something, because the enemy is a setup artist. He plans things from the beginning of the day. He sets triggers up. He sets things up to change your mood, to change your attitude, so you can actually respond to get something going. And all that person not knowing and not discerning, when you come in and you don't know how to respond, and you're not picking up, you're not discerning the atmosphere, and you say the wrong thing, that could be the thing they need that'll leave them off into something. We got to know how to speak to the situation and discern where we at. Go ahead. Yeah, Computer Love. We were married for 20 years. All praise. My wife went home to be with Yahuwah on December 17th, 2020. We had ups and downs. Don't get me wrong. We had ups and downs like everybody. But we stuck through it for 20 years and we worked through it. You know what I'm saying? We had
praises.
Mm-hmm.
But you can make it, don't give up hope.
Hallelujah.
Don't give up hope.
These years on
God will change that thing.
Mm-hmm.
He will change that thing. He will change you. He will change that thing, and then he'll give you strength to go through it. He'll make the love life better. I'm a witness of that. Mm-hmm. We just have to submit to him. Submit to him. We have to submit to him. That's all I can tell you. Submit to the Most High.
Yes, sir.
And sit at his feet and let him instruct you on how to take care of how to move with your woman, how to bring the best out of her, and how you bring the best out of him. And y'all learn how to speak to each other. Then it will be so easy to come together. It will be so easy. All praise to the Most High. I thank everybody for tuning in. Listen, if you're looking for an assembly, you're looking for a Ruach Field assembly, I have a great leader, a great teacher, a great mentor. My brothers, we are part of the leadership that are here, but our leader is Moray Eugene Copeland. Mm-hmm. Dynamic teacher, Ruach Field, beautiful brother. If you want to hear our services, you want to partake in our services, we have online services. We're not service. We have online classes every Monday night at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Every Wednesday night at 7:30 is a great Bible study headed by my Ak right here, Ben Yah. Yehukanah Ben Yah is our Bible study teacher, Moray. We have Shabbat service. Every Shabbat service is at 11. Shabbat class is at 11 Central Standard Time. You can get the link right here at chasersoftheway.com. I'm telling you, you will be blessed. You will be empowered. You will be delivered. You will be healed. You'll be set free. The Most High is moving amongst us. The power of Yah is moving amongst us. Deliverance is taking place. All you got to do is want it and come. Because it's going to be chasersoftheway.com. Go there, take a listen. You can get access once you come in and join us. You can get access to old lessons that are still profitable this day, that are still delivering folks this day. Go to chasersoftheway.com. You want to know more about what we fellowship and what we teach and what's being taught amongst us? Like we said, if it's not the Ruach, it's not us.
All praises.
And we don't deal with them. We don't deal with the traditions of Pharisees. All praises. We're gonna let the brothers have an outgoing saying, and we're gonna bounce up out of here. We love y'all. We want y'all to be blessed, be strengthened, be empowered by the Ruach HaKodesh. Once again, go to chasersoftheway.com and you can get that link for our Bible study. What we have tomorrow, it's gonna be dynamic. 7:30 Central Standard Time tomorrow.
All praises.
Go ahead, Brother E.
I want to say thank you for allowing me to be on this platform with you today. This was, like I said, this was a much needed conversation. The uncomfortable conversations is what we need at this time, because we are walking in these end times and we got to get this thing right. So I'm grateful for being led by Yah to be a part of this assembly with some great men. And I say thank you.
All praises, man. You're a great man yourself, Aki.
Yes,
we love you. Dynamic brother you are.
Saint P.
Yeah. Dynamic. That's our big brother right there.
Yes,
all
sir.
praise.
Yes,
Big Yah.
All praises. I just want to say I thank the Most High for the opportunity to have this conversation. And I hope that something was said to the edification. I hope that the understanding was loose. Again, we talk about sexuality. I remember a preacher saying back in the day, he used to talk about sanctified sexuality. And our sexuality has to be set apart. Yeah, Brian Keith Williams.
Yes, sir. That's my guy.
Yeah, he talked about that, and I believe that that's something that needs to be brought back to the bedroom. If we're doing everything like the rest of the world is doing it, then what makes us different? What makes us sanctified? What makes us set apart? There's a way that we are to govern ourselves, that we don't have to abuse one another, that we can still enjoy one another and still do the will of the Most High. Because he said children is his heritage. And the fruit of that union, the fruit of that love is children. But at the same time, we don't have to beat up and abuse our bodies in order to do it.
Come on.
With that I yield.
All praise. Listen, we want to give a major shout out to our super producer, Dr. Adrian Smith. Listen, this show wouldn't be what it is without Dr. Adrian.
I know
She
name on this platform.
I'm sorry. But listen, family. If you need our services, what you see right here, if you need commercials for your business, you need anything for your ministry. If you got something you're trying to do a straight podcast and you need the best thumbnails that attract people's attention, listen, get with me and I'll get with her and we'll put something together for you and get you the help that you need for your business. You know what I'm saying? We want to thank you for attending. Thank you for looking out. Shout out to my sister Kyra. What's up? Tell my girl. I love you, sis. Tell Agbi I love you. You know what I'm saying?
My brother.
Yes, my brother. Listen, so our producer can help you. She can change the game for you. She can change the narrative for you. This thing is revived, like the Most High blew a breath of fresh air into this channel. And what you see now is a product of what she is bringing. And
those dry bones live.
Yes, sir. They sure do. All praise to the Most High. I am your host, Sukabin Maccabees. My other host.
Pause. We gotta thank our sponsors. I'm loading the videos. Just give me 1 second. We got.
Here go the sponsors.
So just talk amongst yourselves while they load.
Roger that.
We got sponsors.
They asking for something on Friday.
Friday.
I'm game if you guys are game.
Hey,
they game. They'll be here.
We got plenty of things to talk about.
Part 2 of the uncomfortable conversations.
I don't know. We gotta deliberate about that. Man.
Yeah, deliberate. We're gonna deliberate. We gotta go powwow.
All right, no problem. Like I said, I enjoyed this. I appreciate being on this platform with you guys. Being able to talk about the Most High. He's the most important thing in my life. He's the most important thing in my family's life. We are walking these scriptures the best way we know how. And I know with the help of you guys and our wonderful Moray, who's actually been, blessed to be able to be in his presence in the flesh. Yeah. In the flesh, because this ministry that we have is on all corners of this country that we have. Ready. All right, rocking and roll.
Oh, what'd you say? I ain't hear you. Oh, you saying why I got this roll on? Well, because today's package calls for a little self-care day. Okay, let's get into it. Today's items comes from a Black-owned company named Natural Caramel Beauty, where they specialize in bath salts, body oils, skincare items, and they also have items for men's beards. I decided to buy the bath salt because I am a bath girl. The salt comes with spoons and bags where you can bag up your salt or you could just pour it into your bath water. I also got a free sample of the body oil, which I'm also going to put into my bath water. Wake up, it's a new Miss NC Beauty. I feel like I have did myself a disservice with your products today because, I just thought I was just going to do a normal soak. I worked out today and I said, I'm going to just open up my new bath salts and make a video and, just soak in the tub, just rejuvenate my muscles. I didn't light no candle. I didn't pour myself no glass of wine. I didn't turn off this big light and put on my little salt lamp. I ain't do none of that, I don't know why I thought this was just regular bath salt. When I stepped into the tub, I was just overly relaxed, right? And I think I did myself a disservice. I'm gonna have to do this again tomorrow because I didn't get the full experience of this bath salt. And you put this card in here and you said thank you for supporting our small business and helping us to fulfill our dream. But you out here melting away people's days' problems with bath salt and oil. How you so humble? I need to be thanking you, okay? Thank you for relaxing me with that bath salt and that oil. The smell is phenomenal. I don't understand how you so humble. Y'all don't walk, run. Run to the website, run to the page, run, support, and bad. So today,
all praises to the Most
All
High.
praises.
Y'all go there, man.
Today, we're going to do a little unboxing. But before that, you know I need a little dance.
Know what they doing. Hey, I had some beef with the devil, so it's only right that I hop in the stool. And to my ops, I forgive them. They must not know what they doing.
Okay, now let's get into it. I already cut this open, by the way. Y'all ready? This is beautiful. It's a journal. So if you're new here, you know I love writing letters to God, and I needed a bigger journal because I'm about to run out of space in my little journal. This is their 8x10, okay? And let me just say this. When I saw sis on the front, and then I saw her in the mirror with her armor of God on, I said, baby, that's me. Baby, I need that. And I got it. This is beautiful. This is the inside. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I can't wait to write in here. This is the back. The quality is very good. Very good. Okay. On the side, it says Ephesians 6:10-19. Armor of God. Okay. TMH collection. I absolutely love this. I love this. This was $12.99. I did not pay for shipping because I got Prime free right now for 30 days. Okay. And she has different sizes. I needed the 8x10 because I need more room to write my letters to God and journal and do all the good things. I cannot wait to use this. Please support this business. Please look at this. This is beautiful. $12.99. That's not a lot. Go support them, y'all.
All praises, all praises. We got a
All
lot
praises.
more businesses in this ministry also. We got a lot more businesses.
God. Listen, melanated cosmetics, everything you need for your eyes, for your face, listen, women, if you need everything that you need for your facial features to enhance yourself, go to melanatedcosmetics.com. Melanated-cosmetics.com. That's owned by Amora Cheryl Copeland. Man, she's been doing her thing. Go there and get everything you need. So when that husband see you, he be like, oh Lord, what the heck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? All praises to the Most High. Listen, yes, I have the journal. The journal was sent to my girls, but I kidnapped it. I'm just because I write a lot. And I seen the journal. I was like, dang, this thing thick. Pages. I started just writing. I said, forget that. And she caught me one day. She's like, Suka, that was supposed to be for your daughter. I said, shoot, they ain't getting this. Not this one. I'm going to have to order them one because I started writing. It was over. I'm 10 pages deep. You know what I'm saying? So all praises. Listen, if you have a business on here and you're looking for sponsorship to be a sponsor, get with us. We can design your commercial as well. We can come up with a script. We can walk you through it. You need a website. You need funnels. You need to learn how to sell your product. Come to us. We can definitely help you get out there and get going. Listen, I want to thank y'all for coming in today. Listen, I am your host, Suka Ben Maccabees. This is my co-host, my brothers, you know what I'm saying? We are black men and Robins. So all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Yes, ma'am. Listen, I want to thank y'all. Y'all, please tune in next time. We going to see how many we can get to say come back Friday. If we're going to be here Friday, we're going to give it a part 2 and keep it going.
There's a question.
Go ahead.
There's that question to it. Can y'all do a question and answer day? Most definitely.
Most definitely.
If I'm not mistaken, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be phone call in.
We'll talk about producer.
Did I give the clearance on that yet?
I said, if I'm not mistaken,
is that correct?
I was trying to say we'll talk with our producer. Yeah, but that's something we have to run by the producer extraordinaire. But yeah, we'd definitely love to do the question and answer. We'd love that.
Absolutely.
Yes, that would be great. So bring that smoke, bring it. We gonna definitely be here. All praises to the Most High. Once again, chasersoftheway.com. If you're looking for a great assembly, you're looking for Ruach-led teaching, you're looking for a place where you can heal, where you can be delivered, where you can be set free. chasersoftheway.com. I am your man, Suka Maccabees. I love y'all. Shout out to my sister, Miss Tyson. You know who you are. My sister back in Richmond. Shout out, girl. You know I was gonna say something. My baby sis, I love you. Shout out to all my brothers and everywhere. We love y'all, man. Listen, Benaiah, all my brothers, all the truth music artists everywhere. We love y'all, everybody. My man Hezekiah, listen, Asaph, my man Slow, we love y'all, man. My man Yehukanan Yasharala, you know what I'm saying? All praises be for the Akim all over. Listen, we out.
You are Jehovah Jireh, my provider, Jehovah Nissi.